right, Patrick, you're a country music guy. Did you think about sticking around for Cole Swindell last night at Target Field?
Well, I was in Wilmer, so I was driving home. No, but I never heard of the guy. But I'm not a modern country guy. I'm an old country guy. Where you threw the wife down in Miller's Cave because she was having an affair with the bears and all that kind of stuff. Where a little more violent resolution of marital disputes and stuff like that. That was, I'm an old country guy. I never heard of this guy, but my son was here and they got Cole Swindell. Too bad I'm not sticking around. I'd go see him. So apparently I guess he was bigger a few years ago, but he's still fairly big.
He's still pretty big. He kind of launched in the scene about 8 years ago. In the country music scene, and but yeah, he played for about an hour, playing the hits. He covered a couple songs. He did a good job.
And he's not Greg Swindell's son?
No.
Is he your cousin? Is he related to Greg Swindell?
He is not.
I wonder if Greg Swindell ever pitched in front of that bigger crowd. Probably did at the Dome, huh? Probably did.
I'm going to guess maybe in San Francisco, but
what
not.
years was he here? What years was he?
I think it wasn't he
late 90s?
Late 90s,
like 98 or something.
Yep. Glorious
bad,
Twins
he
baseball.
wasn't bad. He's an odd duck, though, man. He was, as my mother would say, he's an odd duck. He was a strange fella, but he was okay, left-hander. He was
marched to his own beat, Pat.
Yeah, 1997 and 1998.
Okay.
Not very many people.
The answer is no.
Yeah.
The answer is no.
Although he did pitch, he was on the 200001 Diamondbacks. He was in the 2001 Diamondbacks
really?
bullpen.
That's right. Yes, I remember talking to him during that World Series. Yeah. Now that you bring it up. Yeah,
right.
he was.
So Declan, how many fans were left at the end of the Cole Swindell concert? Because it's you weren't allowed to come in unless you had a ticket to the game, right? So okay.
Correct. And then they put people on the infield, actually, is what they did. So typically the concerts, are in like the deep left center outfield portion of Target Field. So Cole Swindell's stage was just on the edge in front of the second base bag in the outfield.
Well, that's going to cost the Twins a couple runs at some point with
easily, right?
Being chewed up. Yeah.
And then they had a fenced out throughout the entire infield, so fans were allowed to be on the infield watching him. I would say, I would guess probably half the crowd did probably leave because it was a full crowd last night, but it was still a pretty decent size that was there.
They announced the sellout, so
biggest season,
39,000. So
goes back.
Well, it is odd. I guess it's a reflection of 20 home games in August that they would have it on the night of a game that they got another game the next day too. Because usually when they have these concerts, they put them during a road trip, But I suppose they wanted to draw people to the games too. So anyway, it worked. They should be close to full tonight, right? With all the Winnipeggers in town and. Reusse against Tyler how we pronounce that?
Tyler Mahle.
Mahle. I mean, you can't get better than that for a pitching matchup in this town, right? You see our old friend Jose against the new guy. That's a nice coincidence. I love it. It's
so, Pat, the biggest cheer, and I'm not joking, before the game started last night, because of the concert, we will be serving beer. It will not be cut off in the seventh inning.
Yeah.
We will serve into the concert. They served all night. I would love to see the concession receipts for last night.
Well, you should see mine.
I would.
Canadians, and country western fans. That's probably a pretty good beer drinking crowd, huh? Isn't that's pretty?
Oh yeah,
good, right.
A lot of cocktails consumed.
Do we push in a supply of Molsons when the Canadians come to town or something?
They must buy some Molson inventory
for that
for the weekend.
Yeah, this will be pretty good. Meanwhile, I think we've seen the last of the Duffster, don't you?
You think he's going to get DFA'd?
I think he's. I don't even know if it's if they can DFA him. Has he got any options left?
Well, no, DFA they would just. I'm not saying option. I'm saying you just cut him off the roster.
Yesterday, Jackie Bradley just got boom. There's no DFA. It's just released, and I don't think he was ever DFA'd. But yeah, I think he's done. I just think that they're going to keep Pagan over him because Pagan does have better stuff now. It's just he's an idiot. But the pitching pattern is stuck. But okay. I threw that 98-yard mile-an-hour cutter, and they missed it twice. Now I'm going to fool them. Damn it, and see how far the guy can hit this one. But he's an idiot, but he's got better stuff than Duffey. And
scouting report, idiot.
Duffey just can't. He can't. He can't throw it by him anymore. And when he throws that curveball, 1 out of every 3 sits there, and that's not workable. So,
Pat, I was
one of my all-time favorites. He's really a good guy, but I think it's over. I think they should go let him have a fresh start somewhere. Don't you?
I was a couple beers in, and he was falling behind to every single pitcher, and I think he was 3-0 to Vlad Jr. before the grand salami, and me with 4 or 5 beers in yelled, "Just go after him, Duffey!" And he went after him, and Vlad Guerrero took him about 30 feet deep.
Come on, throw it over the plate. 500 feet.
Bow.
I mean, he had about a 3-week period this year where he fooled them, but they can't use him. I think it was one of those guys that come over from St. Paul. Probably Brad Peacock will probably have a shot.
I saw your prediction.
But he was doing really well at Omaha and opted out, and now he's there had to be a reason they brought him to St. Paul, right? That they figure that they're gonna take a look at him. It'll last 2 weeks, and then they'll try somebody else.
It would be fitting though if last night was the last appearance for Tyler Duffey in a Twins uniform, a grand slam. Mm-hmm. Wasn't it Jose Bautista on a 3-0 or 3-1 count, like the first or second year of Duffy's career in Toronto, and everyone watching knew, well, he's got to throw one over, and
his first start.
Yeah.
Amazing Provis last night was rattling off the stats of Duffey against this team. It's like 10 in the third innings, 20 runs or something like that. I mean, because they hammered him that first game that he ever pitched. We thought we'd never see him again, and they brought him back 2 weeks later, and he was their best pitcher down the stretch. 10 games that year when nobody could figure out his curveball, and he became a very good reliever. Had about 2-3 good seasons, but it looks like it's over for me. And Rocco made it clear after the game, the quotes I read this morning, that they're keeping Pagan. They see something there. So I don't know. This was not a referendum on the new pitchers. This was a referendum on the reason they had to go get the new pitchers.
And that's the thing too. Yeah, 2 nights ago, or the day game against Detroit, it was textbook. It was get 5 innings from your starter, run your 3 relievers out there, and maybe mix in a little lefty and Thielbar. And last night it was all the other guys.
Why did they decide all of a sudden, out of the clear, after not doing it, to let Miguel pitch a second inning? John. But they always, it's 1-1.
I have no clue.
Right?
I have absolutely no clue why. Yes, that's ordinarily what they do, and they completely. I don't ever understand exactly what they're thinking pitching wise, because it doesn't always track.
No, it doesn't. But this is that Toronto team, best hitting team in the base, and I think highest average. Yeah. They don't strike out that much either. They're You know what I was thinking yesterday, though? I'm riding in to listen to the game last night. When a guy gets on first base now, right, and it's a 1-run game, you never even contemplate the thought that they might steal second. Not only with us, with damn near every team. Not only with the Twins, but with damn near every team. The idea of sending the runner or hitting and run never had it doesn't even enter the thought process of baseball watchers anymore.
But it's worse with the Twins, I think, than any team. In fact,
I think they have the least. Yeah.
They have the least attempts. The Twins have only attempted 31 stolen bases all year. The next team, I think, is 41, the Rockies. So, they're just station to station, wait for the big pop.
Now that Buxton never again will attempt to steal a base because of his injury history, I don't know who you would send, but it is interesting that, for 50 years with the Twins, you listen to ball games and said, will he be moving on this pitch? And you still hear him some on the TV when Bremer and Smalley, will they send a runner? No, They won't. They don't. No. I got your answer. They're not going to do that.
And they're basically, these front offices are just doing the math of, okay, they have it all broken down that if you're going to steal bases, you have to do it at like an 80% success rate or better, or ultimately you're, in the long run, you're losing ground. But aren't there instances, maybe you're not looking to steal 200 bases in a full season anymore, but aren't there instances in one game, in this situation, with this guy on first and that pitcher, that you could look to be more aggressive, and they're just not?
Yeah, just well, last night I was thinking this is a perfect game, right? It's 1-0, 1-1. This is the game you try to steal a run, but
Yeah,
they don't do that. And then of course it became a mute point. So yeah, it will be an interesting weekend. It is funny how we went from Wednesday. Okay, they beat Detroit, but oh boy, man, that new bullpen, and then. And it's funny too, listening to Gladdy and Provis, that they were telling us how Emilio had, he had a pretty good month. He's throwing good stuff, and then Gladdy has to say, "Uh-oh, I wasn't going out of the ballpark," and then it's and then the route was on.
The gem last night, Pat, was Chapman, your guy at third base. He made about three plays looked so simple that were so difficult. That guy.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say his ability to change games with his defense or fielding is special.
I told you 2 years ago, Rocco. I just happened to be, the office was empty, and I stuck my head in there. And they just got done playing Oakland, and he told me Chapman was the best fielder he had ever seen at any position in his baseball career. I mean, unsolicited. I didn't even mention the guy because he just got done playing. His best fielder he'd ever seen at any position.
Yeah.
Which is, he's seen a few. He played 9 years, and then all the other stuff. But yeah, he's something. Well, they got a club, man. They got a team. But they managed to get Charlie Montoya fired when they can play a little stupid too. Apparently, Vlad made a great play at first base too, stretching.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know how his hamstring survived. Yeah. It looked like Harmon, and I think it was the 69 All-Star game, that stretch. It looked exactly like that stretch. Unfortunately, it didn't work out as well for Harmon as it did Vlad.
No, we don't. We never approved of Harmon trying to do anything fancy in the field. Just if it's hit right to you, catch it and throw it. Do you know that Harmon? You look it up. They played him I was saying the other day that Wednesday, Cave, I think, hit a ball right center near the corner, and the guy made a hell of a catch on it for Detroit, right? And I was saying, one of the biggest things about modern baseball is the outfielders are so damn good. They catch all the balls in the gaps and the thing. And I said, they had a year when they had Harmon. They had 2 years Harmon played left field. Basically, it was just, who cares? It's a corner outfield spot. We don't care. Let Harmon play. The corner outfielders were your big galoots, and then you had a center fielder. And it's amazing how big the gaps used to be and how tiny they are now.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Harmon Killebrew and moving big galoots to corner outfield spots, how will you remember Miguel Sano's Twins career if this 60-day IL stint indeed ends it, Pat?
I don't think there's any doubt it ends it just because of their lack. And then we knew this was coming almost by the fact that the 60 days he was gone the first time, nobody mentioned him. They never talked about him as though he was, we're going to get Miguel back here. I didn't hear that, though. I'm not there all the time, but I never heard him say, we're going to get Miguel back. Then they got him back, and how many at-bats? His last game, he was 3 for 3 on strikeouts. How many at-bats did he have, like 7 or 8?
Yeah, he played 2 games, yeah.
And
he had 2 in the first game, then he had, I think, was it 4 in the second game? So
yeah, well, his last game they played, he was 3 for 3 on strikeouts. But I will remember him as a failed career because he was going to be a superstar, and he was not even he had a few runs here, but he's been a monumental disappointment the last since 17 was his All-Star year, right? And he was
19 he was on fire for half the season.
Yeah, he did. He joined the party in 19 when they hit all the home runs. He hit that, but yeah, he's a failure. For the build-up he received, he's a monumental failure. One of the he goes down as first of all, anticipated athletes we've had coming to Minnesota in the 60 years since we've been a full-service major league team. He's probably in the top 10 of anticipation of all the teams in town, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so when you consider that and you take that top 10, he's probably as big a flop as we've ever had. I'm not talking about guys who were failed number one draft choices or Paul Grant or guys like that. I mean, guys that we really couldn't wait to see. And then when you consider what we saw in 2015, felt that, hey, this is going to be the next Killebrew. And he ended up being the next Rob Deere, only not as good an outfielder, right? Not as good a player. So yeah, I will remember him as a bust. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Who's in the top 3, Pat, for the Twins then?
Oh man, I would have to.
Because I mean, you've seen every season, and there's been a few. But if he's in the top 3, who are the other two? Who you think?
I know we were breathless with anticipation for David McCarty. That didn't work out. Why aren't you calling up David McCarty? When he was hitting 400 at Portland or wherever the hell it was.
Yep.
That didn't quite work out. I guess I'd have to go back.
I'm trying to think of pitchers that were. I mean, there were some first
Willie
round guys.
Banks was expected to be good, but he never was. He never was. He was just a flop.
I have talked to. I've talked to one of Willie's old roommates, a local guy, former Gopher, a great guy, coached around town here. Willie had a concentration on baseball problem. It was not the driving force in his life. So that was Pat Mahomes. Mahomes was going to be great, man. He was going to be great, and and he certainly had the bloodline to do that. That's been proven, but he didn't have the concentration of his son. But I don't know if I could put him in the top 3, but certainly that's a name that comes to mind very rapidly. So what's happening with our Vikes here? When are we gonna have the scrimmage for the fans to watch like we used to have at Blakesley? Are they gonna have one of those?
No, they're going to have their now just traditional stadium practice Monday night.
Just a practice,
but it's just a practice. Yeah, are you kidding?
Not the big main event that used to fill.
No.
We don't do that anymore.
We are trying to keep guys healthy and rested as possible because
we're trying to keep some of the the more important play concepts from being filmed by 6,000 fans. So. Did
I see that Kellen Mond has been running with the 2s over Mannion, or is that alternate on a daily basis?
He's been given every opportunity to run with the 2s as much as possible. The 3s basically aren't practicing, so Mond and Mannion run with the 2s, but they want Mond. They want Mond to win the job, and I'm going to tell you right now, Mond looks like he has very little chance of actually doing that.
Well, I know everybody was. I think we always want to get on the bandwagon of young quarterbacks here. Obviously, incredible number of examples of that. Gino Torretti and all those guys. But boy, I never saw us turn on a guy as quick as we did. This guy everybody who went to practice said he stinks, So that happened very quickly for a 3rd round draft choice. It was amazing.
Mike Zimmer was the first one to turn on.
Yeah, right.
Last year,
part of it.
Bring back Kyle, man. Played for the Jags last night, right? Didn't Kyle Slaughter get in the game?
How'd he do last night?
Yeah, we had Kyle.
I was at the ball game.
Did we hit the over on the 30.5 there, Declan, last night?
Let me check.
The over under for that Hall of Fame game last night was 30.5 pregame.
Really?
Yes.
I don't know if they got there. I do not.
Yes, it did.
Before
did.
we sign off, the Angels, 7 home runs, and they still lose.
Oh,
They
God.
2 by
still lose.
Ohtani.
7 solo home runs, and they get 7 home runs in a game, and they lose. What?
That is a great microcosm of the last 10 years of Angels baseball right there.
It's amazing. I saw that, and I mean, there's stuff that happens in baseball that's unfathomable, and that's certainly one of them. Certainly one of them.
Yep.
I was out watching the Wilmer Stingers yesterday because home of Brooks Lee played there, and I talked to the kid yesterday on the phone. But it's quite these Northwoods operations are, the co-owners are out there cooking hamburgers and bartending and making.
They got about 3 employees. The owner's one of them, and there's like a play-by-play guy who does everything else.
Yes, the PR kid. They got some kid from I met him, and he's fired up, man. Gabriel something or other. But they dress in the parking lot out in the left field behind the fence before the crowds get in there. And it's, Wilmer's the smallest town in the league, and but they've been going for 13 years, and they get everybody involved in all these. The key to success is all these families that take in a player, and then they like adopt these kids. And Brooks Lee's family was a guy named Jay and Sherry Black, and the old man gives the guy a beater car. When the kid comes, they let him have a beater car to drive around town in and do the stuff. And they're like watching their own kids when they, and they take kids year after year, players year after year. It's a kind of a nice hokey operation. And I left after about 3 innings, ended up 21-14 because they start running out of pitching in August. They send them pitchers and say, okay, he's pitched 75 innings already this year, so you can only use him for 40 innings. So these guys hit 40 innings at the end of July, and they go back to Texas A&M or wherever, and then they start scrounging up pitchers. So you get a little low on pitchers the last 2 weeks in August, apparently.
Offensive outburst late in the season.
Yes. Yeah. Some gopher, Brett Bateman had 6 hits in that game. I looked up, and that's probably more than the Gophers had in most of the games they played last year.
Cumulatively, they had 7 hits all season.
Yeah, right. Anyhow, that was okay. And then I got to listen to Provis and Gladdy tell me what a great game it was for about 3 innings, and then
preview Cole Swindell for the next 6.
Yeah, right. That's right. Cole Swindell.
Coming up next, we'll do mock set lists here in the 7th inning.
Cole wear tight jeans and show off his rear end, or isn't he that kind of guy?
The jeans were a little tight, not too tight.
Not too tight. Okay.
Cowboy boots.
He's a working man's country artist.
Yeah.
Okay.
The crowd, though, was incredibly attractive, Pat.
Oh, really?
Baseball does not ordinarily get an attractive crowd like they got last night.
You can't go wrong with young ladies wearing cowboy hats. It's 100%, man, right there. That's
God
good.
Bless them. They must like that genre of music.
Yeah, but it's not country. It's pop. It's pop. It's pop.
It's just poppy.
I don't know what he plays, but if I've never heard of him, it's pop.
It's not outlaw country if that's what you're looking for. Yeah, it's not Johnny Cash.
That's true. I stopped loving her today. That one when George Jones.
Next week, the new Judd and Pat music podcast comes out.
Sunday Morning Sidewalk is one of the great songs of all time.
As a drinking song, as a recovering alcoholic.
Yep.
I used to play that one a lot. Sunday Morning Sidewalk. Fantastic. That's Christopherson's original, but of course Johnny made it.
Oh, it's great.
Christopherson's an amazing country artist because his voice has always sucked. He's terrible. Well,
look at Bob Dylan.
The songs are so good that that he got away with it. So.
The 60s did not mandate great voices. It was all about the writing.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, look at Dylan.
Yeah, that is true. He's still with us, thank God. Hang in there, Bobby. That's good. Joe and I, once he was at a Twins game with his kid at the Metrodome, Dylan, And Joe and I followed him out of the press box. We wanted to see where the hell he went, where he parked so nobody could see him, when he showed up, and he was over there somewhere behind the armory or something, parked over there. We followed him and his kid out just to see where the hell he
Stalking
was.
him through a dark parking
That
lot.
makes you a good reporter right there, man.
Nobody bothered him. Nobody hardly even noticed him. A baseball crowd, he slinked out and took off and was headed for the farm out in the Lester Prairie or whatever it was. All right, gents, have a good weekend.
All right, Pat, we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Pat.
We'll see you tonight. Hell of a ball game. They should have a good crowd.
Let's get it. Jose Barrios. Show him what's up. Show him why he didn't get that contract extension here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, gents.
All right, that's wrapping with Reusse here. Love listening to Judd and Pat. Just
talk.
He
breaks
sang.
down
We
the
got
music
Reusse.
scene.
We have never before. I don't believe I've ever heard Patrick sing before.
It's happened a few times on the radio, but definitely the first time it's happened on our podcast. Yeah. So that Patrick Reusse musical set was presented by our friends at Federated Mutual Insurance Company. They've been around for over 100 years, helping businesses with risk management tools, resources, maximizing those businesses' level of success. Find out more at federatedinsurance.com, where it's our business to protect yours.